Sometimes you gotta like to bleed.
What is happening? What is happening right now?
Marikrambu Weeps, my name is Cole, his name is Mike, his name is Jay, we like anime, and this is episode 107 of the Anime Protagonist Podcast. And on this week's episode, what potentially could be the last episode of the Anime Protagonist
this
Podcast.
Could end well. Yeah.
We review Toradora. I guess it's our Christmas episode, so...
Merry Christmas.
Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad, Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Tomorrow, I guess, as of when this episode comes out.
That's correct.
I don't know. We don't want to delve into that too much.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of want to keep this episode, timeless.
Mm-hmm.
So, in honor of the timeless season, what? See, Jay recommended this, and I don't know.
Let Jay intro his.
I don't know.
his-
I don't know
his-
why
yeah.
he recommended this one. Like maybe he's thinking.
I feel like he's
I have
got.
a thought.
Whenever Jay recommends something, he's been scheming for weeks. So let's see what his schemes are.
Weeks this week is kind of an overstatement, but boys, I have a question for you, and I hope you have some answers.
Okay.
What are some anime couples that you think would have been better off if they just stayed friends?
Interesting that you came up with this question this week.
Yeah,
interesting.
I feel like he's insinuating something here.
Yeah.
Right?
No, never.
Anime couples that should have been given the gift of friendship for Christmas.
Give them that gift of friendship, the most
The
powerful
timeless
gift
thing
of all.
of Christmas gift.
Anime couples that should have remained friends. See, I knew that this question was coming.
Yeah, I didn't really prepare anyone. I do have one off the top of the dome that like it's an anime couple that just always, I don't know why, it just bothers me. I just feel like it's not. It just I'm gonna get hate from this because
Let him cook.
I dunk on this anime all the time, and it's a super it's maybe the most popular anime, honestly. And I know it's a hot take. This might not be though, because I don't think people are a fan of this in particular, but I'm not a huge fan of Sasuke x Sakura. I just think that there's no real chemistry there.
Yeah.
And like, even from what I've seen of Boruto as well, like having read a little bit and kind of loosely paid attention to what's going on. It just seems like they're just together because.
In name only, yeah.
Yeah, like they don't.
Sasuke's never home, I think, in Boruto.
Yeah,
that's kind of his thing.
So like, what's the point of them being a couple other than to produce? Is it Sadara? Is that his daughter?
Yeah, I think it's Sadara.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should have got they should have like gotten divorced. That would
They
have
kind
been
of are already.
No. Like I'm half joking. Like that.
The first
you know,
anime
why
divorce.
not? You know, lots of people have parents who are divorced. Like why not make these two characters not together anymore?
I don't know.
You know,
It would add some relatability to Sarada for
it would add some relatability, and it makes sense because they have no chemistry.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys are kind of in agreement on this one.
Yeah,
So I've
no,
always
that
just
was a
like
good
looked
one.
at it like I'm this is a hotter take for sure. I feel like Naruto and Hinata is hanging by a thread. There is a little bit there, but
I think the big point of both of those relationships is in the original series, Hinata had a crush on Naruto, Sakura had a crush on Sasuke, and they
Which is
both
fine.
got their crushes to come true. Isn't that cute?
yeah. Oh, isn't that convenient?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
I don't know. That was like the most magical sound I could find on the
I have
soundboard.
Do you guys have
one.
another?
I have
Okay.
one.
I have one. So Jay, you go ahead.
Okay.
You go ahead.
Okay.
I did think of one.
Let me cook for this one because I feel like I feel like I'm gonna get.
Oh, Jay, you're gonna be
as
doing a lot
many-
of cooking this
as many-
episode.
Yeah. Get in that kitchen, chef.
as many flames that Mike would potentially get for
Yeah, chef.
Sasuke and Hina and Sakura, maybe even more. Kirito and Asuna.
That's
No,
what
let
I was
me
going to
cook.
say. That's
Let
what
me
I was
cook.
going to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cook, chef.
Okay, now I would like to direct your attention to Sword Art Online Progressive.
Yes, chef.
Yeah, chef.
Sword Art Online Progressive is a whole series that takes place throughout the entirety of the Aincrad arc, floor by floor. Now, in that series, it gives you the time to develop Kirito and Asuna's friendship, and it works so much better than the original series, where they just enter a relationship all of a sudden, and all of a sudden they're like OTP or whatever, and like they're
OTP mean?
one true pairing.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
They're like the it couple of the series, and it's the one pairing that'll survive everything and brave the storm. But like, man, if they just stayed friends and like you got to see that friendship develop from like the beginning, where like Asuna's kind of like standoffish and she doesn't really like interact with anyone, to like slowly warming up to him, I feel like we'd have a better relationship there. So
okay. I let you cook, and I agree with your cooking. I don't think that they're particularly compelling. I kind of like I said with Sasuke and Sakura, like I just feel like they're together just because.
They're kind of vanilla. They're kind of a vanilla couple.
It's like Reki was like, "Oh, I gotta put myself with the waifu that I like."
Yeah, but he also put him. Here's the thing: they really should be given the gift of friendship, or at least an open marriage, because Kirito's got mad hoes clinging off of him. This whole thing,
including his cousin, sort of
sister
cousin going on there. Yeah. Like he's slutting out. Like he's got lots going on.
Yeah, but you know what? He's got all of this temptation, but he's true. He's faithful.
He's faithful.
That is true.
There's only one in his mind,
and that is
dual wielding.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, he's dual wielding. All right.
And his computers.
His daughter.
Who?
They have a child.
Where are we
together.
going with this?
Yui doesn't need to exist.
No, Yui doesn't need to exist.
Doesn't need to exist.
Okay, so I hear your guys' hot takes.
Okay.
And people are going to come at me. And I need you guys to defend me.
I hope. Okay. Oh, yeah, I'll defend you.
Cole, I'm going to let you cook. You let me cook, so...
Yeah.
I need you guys to defend me on this one, because I think this was a pairing of two beloved characters in a series that really, when you take a step back and think about it, doesn't make any sense in terms of their compatibility. And that is Vegeta and Bulma in Dragon Ball Z.
Oh no. You went with the wrong couple in Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, no. Okay,
I'll let you cook.
All of the couples don't make sense. Like Goku and Chi-Chi don't make sense either. But at least we got Gohan out of it.
Yeah,
that's true. We got Gohan.
Yeah,
we got Trunks out of Goku or Vegeta and Bulma. Trunks is pretty good.
Trunks schmunks. Like, I don't know. It's just like, why are they a couple? First of all, Vegeta, I think, doesn't care. He's not interested in anything. He just wants to be strong, but he'll always be the second strongest. And like, what does Bulma see in Vegeta? I don't know.
She's a vegetarian.
What?
Sure.
Because Vegeta, the joke, vegetable.
Oh, okay.
She's a vegetarian. Yeah.
And Vegeta only eats shorts, apparently.
Yeah. He's been taking advice from Bart Simpson.
I guess Bulma's bra, isn't it? But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. That's mine. And Goku and Chi-Chi don't really make much sense either. But
I feel like a lot of stuff in Dragon Ball doesn't make sense.
They feel more like relatable. Like Goku is just like a doofus who's just like hee ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
And Bulma's just like, I don't know. It's kind of like the old school like Fred Flintstone and Wilma Flintstone, like the odd couple pairing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Makes more sense to me than like the two people who have absolutely no chemistry. Like, are they even in scenes together?
Who, Bulma and Vegeta?
Yeah.
I kind of disagree with you on this one. I think they're probably the best couple in Dragon Ball Z.
Defend them.
I just, from what I've seen in Super, at least, like there's the scene in the beginning of Super where what's his name? When Beerus first comes out, and then Beerus is threatening Bulma, and that's what gets Vegeta kind of cooked up. He's a little riled up because he's threatening his honey there. I don't. If anyone, Vegeta's the best dad in Dragon Ball Z too.
No, this isn't about best dad.
Yeah, but part of being a good dad is being a good
husband
partner here. Yeah,
You don't have to be. My dad's a good dad.
Yeah, my dad's a good dad.
Yes, I know, but it's part of it for this.
Listen, they shouldn't be together. They shouldn't have had children. Trunks shouldn't exist.
Oh, that's
Blow
that's
it
just
all
wrong.
up.
No,
Blow it all up.
Don't do that. Don't
Just
listen
press
to
the
this man.
nuke button.
Just
Yeah, he went in the kitchen and cooked some garbage. Is what he cooked.
I cooked some gabagool.
Ooh, sweet gabagool.
sweet gabagool.
Question for the listeners: if you have an anime couple that you think should have stayed as friends, let us know, because it would be a very interesting discussion to have in our Discord.
I'll also go Amelia and Subaru, because Rem is better.
That's the reason.
I mean, the real answer is Subaru and gray-haired elf girl. What's
the Witch of Envy?
What's her name? Amelia.
That's literally what I just said.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at something on my screen here. I'm a silly goose.
I think
Mike and his other monitor needs to be separated.
Yeah, I need to be taken away.
I think that Subaru and Amelia shouldn't be together. Well, you know what? That's because Subaru should be with Amelia.
Okay.
Is basically the discussion.
So what I was doing is I'm trying to come up with a second one, because I don't watch a ton of romance anime, and I just cannot come up with another one. So do you guys have any other ones you can think of?
No.
I just thought of
I
thought of one off the top of my head.
Yeah, okay.
I don't understand in My Hero Academia why Deku and Floaty
Ochako?
Girl Uraraka is a couple. I feel like they have nothing. There's nothing there.
No, they're both just cinnamon rolls.
They're like interested in each other, but they're not like really a couple yet.
But like the way that they like portray it in the show is like
no. They're interested in each other.
They're just crushing on each other.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't do it for me.
Man, that's an old man take. I hate these kids liking each other.
I am an old man.
I had one that kind of like you know when you have those like strokes of genius that just come into your brain and then immediately just leave.
No. Never had a stroke of genius.
Yeah. Whenever I have a stroke of genius, it never leaves.
Tell me when that happens.
Yeah.
Tell us your next
still waiting
stroke of genius.
Okay, you don't have it?
I don't know.
And then I lost it. Yeah.
What
about Hori and Miyamura?
Yeah, they should have just been friends.
As Jay's brain explodes.
No.
Yeah.
My favorite couple of all time? Friends?
Just friends.
Honestly, though, like I say that, but I think that in reality, I could see them having been friends longer to kind of like develop the relationship more. But like,
I like that Horimiya kind of gets that out of the way early on in the series.
No, it'll come up in the review a little bit later too. That I do enjoy when an anime kind of just doesn't tiptoe around the whole time.
Beat around the bush.
It kind of doesn't beat around the bush all the time. And I find it can do that a lot, but yes. One that I just thought of, well, actually I just saw as I was scrolling through here. We reviewed this show, Charlotte, the main character and the gray-haired girl there. There is no
Charlotte.
Yeah, there's no chemistry there whatsoever.
No chemistry at all. It was strange. They should be friends for sure.
It was just
and
like
then it would probably save a lot of suffering if they were friends too, based on the plot of the show. But, yeah.
I'm trying to think of like some shows that I've watched.
Toru and Kyo. That's a good one.
No. Well, no, she should have gotten with Yuki, but
agreed. Yeah. Big agree.
Yeah, Yuki best boy, Mike. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to break this to you.
Best boy Shigure.
According to the democracy that is this podcast, Yuki is best boy.
Yeah, Jay totally knows what we're talking about.
I mean, he's watched the finale. Yeah.
I watched the finale and I watched the first, like, I think 5 episodes of the show.
How could you watch the first 5 episodes and then drop it?
Because I did. That's just how it works.
That's how it be sometimes.
That just be how it be.
Yeah, that just be how it be, dog.
Go off, King.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have anything.
Yeah, Jay, do you have some? Because like you pitched this, there must have been some kicking around in that big old feet of yours. I mean, brain.
that came out of nowhere.
Did it though?
Did it though? Did it?
Yeah.
I feel like it was called for.
I feel like it deserved to be said.
Mm-hmm.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel to see Jay's feet.
What? Are you just gonna
soon.
like add pictures of my feet to the
No,
Jay
no.
foot compilation coming? No, your commitment, Jay. When we reach 288 subscribers or whatever it was.
I kind of accidentally posted my foot in one of the pictures. And it was an accident.
That's true.
That was a psyop. That was a psyop. I'm in the conspiracy theories here. It happened twice in a row. Yeah.
One just came to my mind. The main couple from Weathering with You. And my reasoning for that is because it kind of, like, a lot of that movie kind of retreads Your Name. Down to the fact that, like, the main couple gets together after the whole journey. And I feel like it would be more interesting if they just, like, stayed friends and, like, was a bit different from Your Name. It's too
hot take. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. But
I kind of want less couples in anime.
Spoken like a true spiteful old man.
Yeah. Spoken like a true single guy.
Like there's always, like, you know, it's always will they, won't they, and it's I don't know. Like, can't we just have male and female platonic friends?
Right? Thank you.
In anime,
that'd be a good podcast topic. Is like best platonic friendships in anime.
I was actually like kind of while I was trying to go to sleep last night, I was kind of like dozing off trying to think of platonic male and female friendships in anime, and like
as you do,
that list is short.
Like even like I'm obviously not counting like the will they, won't they's. Obviously those
I wasn't counting those either.
Platonic. Because there is some like chemistry there that
like I couldn't count Naruto and Sakura because Naruto had a crush on Sakura. So like right. Obviously like any of the harems, there's like feelings there. My Hero Academia, like I was like, I guess you could count the other students from 1A and Deku, but like they're not really like they're okay. Yeah, but like there's not really like chemistry between them. There's never really like any like, dang, these are some good old chums, you know? It's just kind of like, yeah, they're classmates.
Just good old chums.
Good old chums.
Good old chums. I
think is well dry, guys. Should we?
I think the well might be dry.
Yeah. I see Cole frantically trying to find another answer, and I think maybe
I'm
we should
scrolling, man.
On.
I'm far down here. What do you guys say we just dive right on in to something?
I'm
Sure.
trying to dive.
How high?
It's time for the mailbag.
How high is the diving board? Is what I meant to ask.
About a meter. Not very high.
The water less than a meter deep too.
Yeah, not very high, but when you look down, it's like, well, man, meters.
And then like when you jump in, you kind of like splat and then slowly sink in.
Belly flop technique.
Yeah. It's like what are those fluids called? Where like if you apply a lot of force, it's more viscous.
Non-Newtonian fluids, like cornstarch and water.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking of. We got a mailbag question here. If you want to submit a mailbag, you can do that on our website, AniProPod.com/mailbag, or at our Discord, which is how this one was submitted. It's not a priority patron mailbag, actually, but I picked it because it's thematically relevant, given the date and the time of 'tis the time of the season.
Okay, it is a time of the season. Yeah,
It is a season.
It's from Opie Master Ash, and he submitted, hopefully you use mine before Christmas. Well, good news. Yeah.
Literally coming in one day before.
Right. So what is something you do as a tradition for Christmas that seems special to you, whether it's food, binging movies, or staying up till midnight on Christmas Eve and stuff? I thought it was a good question. Of course, let's expand it to include just the general holiday season.
Oh, I have something for Christmas. Don't worry.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Good.
You can have something for anything though. Yeah, just holidays in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we also got some answers to this one that were shared on the Discord. So I'd like to share those with you guys.
Good.
Opie Master Mash.
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 Do the mash.
Do the monster mash.
I was thinking of the show MASH. Opie Master Ash said, mine is to watch It's a Wonderful Life on Christmas with Mexican hot chocolate and have pozole with the family. Mexican hot chocolate. What's that? Mike,
Can I come over for Christmas? Mexican chocolate's just really good, but I'm assuming it's just more rich hot chocolate. I don't know. We're in Canada. There's a whole country separating us in Mexico. So how about you bring us up some Mexican hot chocolate, Mr. Ash?
Come on up here. Come on up here.
Come for a visit, pal.
Come on down.
You're the next contestant on The Price is Right? Question
mark?
Yeah. We got another one from Shazana.
I know her.
Yeah, she says, every year I bake a bunch of different cookies, bars / squares, and tarts. I make them all for my Xmas gatherings and also gift box them to my friends. Still waiting on mine. Whatever, it's all
She's
good.
She's still baking.
Yeah,
That's
no,
okay.
sure. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. I remember last year you guys just showed up and dropped off a box of cookies, and that was
I'm waiting for the
nice.
box, like the return box. Usually when you give a gift, you get a gift back, you know?
You don't want my baking, dude. You want some Pillsbury, like...
Actually, yes, those are good. The Pillsbury cookies, they are good.
Yeah.
I looked up Mexican hot chocolate, by the way. We got, I'll tell you the ingredients here. We got...
chocolate.
Oh, sorry, I've
50% hot, 50% chocolate.
So it's milk, unsweetened cocoa powder, sugar, ground cinnamon, vanilla, a little tiny bit of chili powder and cayenne for spice, a bit of bittersweet real chocolate, not cocoa powder.
Okay.
For the creaminess.
Like baker's chocolate?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then some marshmallows, chocolate shavings, or a cinnamon stick.
Marshmallows?
You ever hear people call them marshmallows?
No,
I have. It's strange to me. I don't
like that.
Yeah. I wonder if it's like a regional thing. I gotta imagine.
It sounds like when people call bagels bagels.
Bagels.
Yeah, bagels.
But we really shouldn't dive into pronunciation. We are Canadian. I'm sure.
Yeah, we are Canadian.
Yeah.
We pronounce things funny.
What are you talking about, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got more here though. This one's from Super Mexi. My family and I watch Polar Express on Christmas Eve every year as tradition.
Haunting Tim Hanks.
Tim Hanks. Haunting Tim Hanks,
yeah.
the evil twin brother of Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Devin says, one of the big traditions for us is getting the Christmas tree set up and hanging ornaments with the kids, and then redistributing all the ornaments because the kids always hang them in one area. Yeah.
Sounds about
sense.
right.
Yeah. Kids, they don't understand. You gotta make the tree look nice.
You gotta disperse
kids, they just don't understand.
Yeah. Children just don't understand. Next one is from Thray Walsh. The night of Christmas Eve, we make grasshoppers, which is basically just mint chocolate chip milkshakes, since most of us don't drink.
That actually sounds really good.
That sounds good. I like a good I like a good milkshake.
I like a good milkshake.
Quick, what's your favorite milkshake?
Strawberry. Easy.
Chocolate, I think.
Oh, worst milkshake.
Vanilla.
Oh, look at us. We've made Neapolitan on this podcast. Neapolitan milkshakes.
We're like the French flag.
Yeah.
There's no brown in the French flag. We're just moving right along.
No, we should focus on that, I think. No, I'm kidding. Let's continue on.
Let's that's all of the ones that were submitted to us, and
thank you for
all
submitting, everybody.
So Mike, what do you do on Christmas?
Probably the oldest tradition that I have as a grown male adult is every Christmas I go over to a bunch of families' places, and the older I get, the more splintered the family gets, the more random Christmases I have to go to. So like I just basically cruise around these different Christmases. But there's a few that have like stayed the same for my entire life, which is kind of nice. Like I always go to my one side of the family's Christmas, and it's always in the same small town. It's always the same thing, and I see all these people, and I've been seeing them like that for literally my entire life. So that's kind of nice. And you always have your nice Ukrainian Christmas dinner, which is basically like a Thanksgiving dinner, but with pierogies and holubchi and all sorts of good stuff.
Do you have lettuce wraps or whatever they're called?
Cabbage rolls, yeah. Lettuce wraps. Oh, that's funny.
You have those leaf things.
Leaf burritos?
Leaf burrito? Yeah.
Leaf burritos. For the listeners, pierogies, if you don't know what they are, they're like a little dumpling. It's basically
like a potato dumpling with cheese.
Potato-filled dumpling. It's a dumpling with the
Potato
dough on
dumpling.
the outside is also with potato in it. And then the inside filling is basically mashed potatoes mixed with cheese. It's amazing. Or sauerkraut. And then a holubchi or a cabbage roll is basically like you take cabbage, wrap up like rice and ground beef and tomato sauce and bake it. It's great. But probably the oldest tradition other than that is it's weird. I always go over to my parents, and on Christmas Day, we all sit around the Christmas tree and drink an eggnog. And that's about as Christmassy as it gets, I think.
You're all just sitting there.
Now that we've gotten older, it's when I was a kid, it would start off with you take a picture with the presents underneath the tree, you have the eggnog. But now that ever since I've been an adult, it turned into we relax after a big family gathering and enjoy a rum and eggnog.
Mike, what you should do is you should dig up one of those like old pictures of you as a kid, like with the presents under the tree, and recreate it. But like
that would be a good move, actually.
Modern, yeah,
that's actually kind of a good idea. I should do that. Thank you for putting that in my head, Jay. My parents would like that.
Yeah.
I will take the next dive into memory lane.
Here is the rock. Oh, you didn't catch it.
Cole, do you need a bandage for that blood from the rock? Your head's kind of like gushing.
No, he's got a hard head. He's a hard boy.
So two things. I had I had lots of Christmases like Mike. So I'll kind of split it into two. The two that I explicitly remember most. So one on my mom's side would be Christmas Eve. We wouldn't have supper on Christmas Eve or dinner or whatever you want to call it wherever you're from. We would just have like snacks, like chips and kubasa and cheese and crackers and like bacon buns and all kinds of stuff. And and it would just be out like all evening, and that would be supper. We just sit there and snack.
No,
what's a bacon bun?
Too.
It's basically like a bun, like a dinner roll, with
bacon in
that has bacon in it. Yeah, bacon and like other stuff mixed in.
Yep,
they're very good.
You should also clarify what kubasa or kielbasa is too.
It's a farmer sauce. It's garlic sausage.
Yeah.
People know what kubasa is.
Chime in if you don't know what kubasa is. I've had to explain it to people in Manitoba.
I don't know what kubasa is. I mean, okay, I'll be fair. I probably do, and I'm just being an idiot right now.
It's garlic sausage.
Yeah.
If you,
it's a very regional thing, though, is what I would say. But anyway,
it's like a Midwest thing, because I remember watching Home Improvement as a child, and they were talking about kubasa, and that took place in Detroit.
There you go. Okay.
So it's like a Midwest thing.
Let us know if you know what any of these things are, dear listener.
Yeah.
Cheese is like a dairy product that is produced from like milk. And then it's curdled, and then all the whey is taken, and then you make cheese with it.
What about the curds?
Crackers are like little biscuits that okay, yeah, no, I'll yeah. And then on my dad's side, we would be forced to sit down, and everybody would be forced into the living room, and we would all watch specifically Christmas Carol, like the really old one. Yeah.
Christmas
which is
Carol,
a good movie. I don't know. I've just always maybe this is where my whole issue with like being forced to watch something comes from. If I'm forced to watch it, I don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I remember. Like, oh, now I got to go watch this movie. And it's a good movie.
It's just kind of like, I feel like if you have to watch the same movie every year, eventually that movie gets like, here we go.
Yeah. That kind of brings up like another one of our traditions is usually we'll have a friends miss, Cole and I and our group that I went to high school together. And one of the traditions there is that we always watch Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Is it Revenge of the Sith?
It's Revenge of the Sith, but it's basically from when Padme arrives on Mustafar.
It's just the Mustafar scene. Yeah. It's where the
duel between
basically
Anakin
we watch
Obi-Wan.
We watched the duel between Anakin and Obi-Wan and the duel between Yoda and the Emperor.
I mean, those are probably the two coolest parts of the movie, to be fair.
They're honestly probably, and this is a hot take, is probably some of the coolest parts of the Star Wars saga, honestly.
Yeah.
You talk about like how the prequel or the prequels aren't as cool because it's all choreographed. But like,
underrated.
Man, like some of those choreographed fights,
it's impressive.
They're cool.
Yeah. And then at the same time in this fight, there is a scene where they just kind of twirl their lightsabers at each other for like really fast and not hit each other for like a minute. And it's like, what's going on here?
And you just hear like the boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. And they just kind of stare into each other's eyes lovingly.
Yeah, but it's great. It's great though.
It's great.
You know, I think George Lucas was like, this is corny. People are going to remember it.
He wasn't afraid to be corny. I'll give him that. I do appreciate some corn.
So to the Star Wars diehards, what was the symbolic meaning of them spinning their lightsabers at each other without?
They were feinting each other. They were feinting each other until they both Obi-Wan trained Anakin, so Obi-Wan knows all of Anakin's moves and vice versa. So they're just trying to feint each other, and then they both attack.
And they're also using the Force at each other, right? Like like it's kind of like there's more mental battle than like a physical.
Yeah.
No, it's a symbol for how their views are so close yet so far apart, and they will never truly come together. And the conflict will never truly be resolved until they come together in conflict. That's really what it symbolizes. That scene.
Yeah. Until they like come together.
Yeah.
This feels like in like 11th grade English class when they were trying to analyze the book and you're like coming up with these meanings that definitely the author never thought of.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jay, your Christmas.
Like the teacher's trying to over-explain the book and it's just gobbledygook.
It's just like there's no way this is no, you're reaching. This is a reach, bruh. That's what I said to my
bruh.
So
listen, Miss Augustine, that's a reach, bruh.
There we go. Yeah. My Christmas, I feel like this is the very stereotypical Jewish Christmas, but like every year I order Chinese food because like
I love that though. Honestly, Jay, one of my greatest memories actually as a child is I'd always go over on Christmas Eve. I'd always go over to my grandma's on one side. And I loved it because instead of having the damn usual like feast Christmas that you have on Christmas, the Christmas food. We would just order Chinese food. And it was such a night and just the midst of the mashed potatoes and turkey and meatballs and stuff.
Nice break.
It's a glorious break, and I just love Chinese food.
And
that's
so
much.
That's a great tradition.
It's so much fun though. Like, like I used to do it with my mom, but like now that I'm as I've gotten older, I started doing it with my friends, and like,
that's awesome.
Like this year, my friends from high school, like we're just like we're doing it again this year, right? And we instantly know what we're talking about. And like Friendsmas
is great.
We hang out. Order Chinese food. Like we each get to pick one dish, order Chinese food and just hang out. and it's so much fun because like we all know that like we're just hanging out. There's no like presents or anything. It's just like a chill hangout with Chinese food. And that's it.
Mhm.
Oh, well, you're missing out on the. You should. I'm going to give you a suggestion to incorporate into your Christmas tradition as non Christmas celebrators.
You gotta watch Star Wars Episode 3.
Being the one of 3 that likes Star Wars.
I actually wouldn't have guessed you even
bunch.
like Star Wars, to be honest with you.
I like Star Wars.
You need it goes by many different names. I call it Secret Santa. Some call it White Elephant. There's a whole bunch of different names it goes by.
Who the hell calls it White Elephant?
People in other parts of the world. But
What the hell is wrong
The
with
thing
them?
is, when you're a group of 3, Secret Santa kind of like doesn't really work that well.
yeah, it gets tricky.
I will say though, for Hanukkah, my family does Mystery Mordecai, which is basically
You're
Secret
gonna have to
Santa.
explain. Okay,
Basically Secret Santa, but we try and Jewify it.
I like it.
I like that.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm normally the one who's randomizing everyone, picking everyone's names. So I always know who has me.
So to clarify, Cole, when I looked up on Wikipedia, a White Elephant gift exchange is the first name that comes up. Yankee Swap is the second, and third is Dirty Santa.
What the hell?
No one calls it Secret Santa, apparently.
But it's got the alliteration. It's perfect. Why
I know. Yankee
Secret-
Swap is wild to me. That's crazy.
Secret Santa?
Yeah.
Secret Santa.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of redundant
they're
though,
different
because
things.
Santa is
they're
secret.
different things. I see. It's different. White Elephant and that stuff is where you basically just put out a bunch of gifts and then you draw numbers. Secret Santa is where you assign, I buy for Jay, Jay buys for you.
And
That's
I
the
buy
difference.
for no one.
And yes, as just tradition.
No
That's just-
money spent by Cole.
Yes.
I got none. Got none to spend.
Ain't none here.
I gotta go see the boy and the heron again.
Yeah.
But no, I actually got a pretty cool gift this year. I shared it in the Discord, but I got a shirt from my cousin who got me. And then I also got this.
That's a cool shirt.
It is a cool shirt, but I also got this poster, and the poster's actually really cool. It's basically like a scratch poster, and like it has 100 different anime on it, and it's basically like when you watch the anime, scratch off the thing, which like I mean at this point, I basically could scratch all of them, but what I'm doing, because it's much more interesting, is I'm scratching them off for every review we've done.
I like that. And I think you should share with Cole and I the poster. Yeah. Or maybe we just all buy the poster and we can maybe just work on that list. That'd be a cool way to handle our reviews too.
That would be really cool.
Was that a segue out of this into the teasing of the review? I don't know.
I guess.
Didn't we
Are we done
have
talking about?
Do we have multiple mailbags, or was that the only one?
I don't even know.
No, that was the only one. It was just, it's just, you know, it's a girthy one. It's a girthy boy.
Yeah.
Oh, so girthy.
But yeah, we can, Mike, if you've got a hint for our next review, please share it with the class.
So you guys have finished sharing your holiday traditions. I'm just clarifying. That sounds like a yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what?
Okay.
We'd always play stupid games at my dad's like extended family Christmas.
What stupid game?
Like we'd play, I don't know, we'd always play like
Pin the Tail on the Donkey.
No, like games that we would play this game. It's called
competitive edition.
It's called What If, which is basically you'd ask a question. What if Mike ate too many beans?
I can tell you.
And then you'd throw them in a hat, and then you'd randomly draw. So like it works when there's lots and lots of people.
Okay.
So then you throw it in the hat, and then you'd pick it up. I'd have this question: what if Mike ate lots of beans? Of course, without fail, you're gonna write something stupid. Mike has explosive diarrhea. Right? That's what would happen. So you throw it back in the hat, and then you draw again. And then you read the question, and then the person next to you answers with the answer off of their sheet. So because all of my extended family have the same stupid potty humor, like farting and pooping and stuff, I don't know. It just turns into this ridiculous game of like, what made so and so fart this time?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
so
just
essentially,
funny.
you guys are playing like Cards Against Humanity or like homebrew edition.
Only white
Basically.
cards.
Yeah.
And Cards Against Humanity, yeah, we'll play that now too. We basically play like games that you'd play with your friends, but with my extended family, which
I
is
like that,
a lot
though.
more awkward.
That's more honestly.
No.
I like that. No, you know what's
No,
more
my-
awkward is the holiday tradition that I had for many years of going and just kind of seeing these people you see once a year, and they're like, "Oh, how's it going? Got a girlfriend yet? Oh, you do have a girlfriend. Are you married yet? Oh, you're married now. Oh, you got a kid yet?" There's always something else.
It's
Oh,
like-
you're in school. When do you graduate? It's
Yeah.
like there's always just this
That
pressure.
game of catch up with extended family is always very awkward.
Yeah, it's always awkward, but it's kind of necessary. It's a necessary evil, but it is truly awkward.
I don't know. My extended family on my dad's side's great though, because it's basically my dad and his two brothers, and they all have the same sense of humor, which like all of us cousins kind of adopted as well.
You pick it up, right?
So yeah, it's basically just everybody has the same, just ridiculous,
Dumb sense of humor.
Okay, Mike, I'm sorry, I've derailed you enough.
No, I was kind of a weird. Jay brought that up, and I was just like, "Is that him moving it to the next thing?" I didn't want to cut it short. I thought we were having a good conversation.
It's cut.
It's cut now. We're good.
We cut the
Okay,
cake.
so we just we're about to review Toradora.
Cut the Christmas cake.
Cut the Christmas. Oh, cut the fruit cake. Ugh. Yuck.
Cut the pumpkin pie.
Yeah, that's good. We're about to review Toradora, right?
Yeah.
Great anime. Some would say.
Both of us look at Jay.
We'll find out.
And I thought, you know what? Let's keep this retro all-time greats anime train going with our next review.
Okay.
I was kind of tossed up. I didn't know exactly where to go. And I went with one that I know Cole and I have not seen. I know for sure I haven't seen it. I'm pretty sure Cole hasn't. I think Jay has seen it. It is based on a light novel.
Okay.
The genres are action, mystery, and supernatural.
I think
It
I
has
know
an
what it is.
average score. How do you know what it is already?
I think I'm not going to say anything. I just want to. I just want to play it out, see if I'm right.
Okay. It has an average score on AniList of over 80%.
Okay, still
you
following
there's-
the line
yeah.
of what I think it is.
And the anime adaptation of this light novel came out in the 2000s. That's all I'm going to tell you. Oh, and I'll give you a tag too. I'll give you historical and crime are part of the tags.
Okay, this is very telling.
Was it what you expected? Don't
It's
guess
still
yet,
in
but-
line. It's still in line with what I think it is.
I suspect it might be on your calendar or
Probably.
your poster. I'm hoping it is. But tune in after the spoiler section of the review. There'll be a timestamp in the description where it will reveal what it is.
No, we'll do it
After.
before the spoiler section.
Yeah.
What did I say?
You said after.
Oh, sorry. I meant, it's between the spoilers free section and the spoiler section.
Yeah.
Right after we give our final thoughts. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Cole explains this stuff better than me. I'm
know.
not too good with the thinking and wording at the same time. It's tough.
I'm kind of an idiot.
Yeah, I'm kind of an idiot. And I think I need like some kind of refreshment, you know?
Don't forget, we've got a link in the description for $5 off your first box with Tokyo Treat. Promo code
yes, do that.
AniPro.
Tasty snacks.
Yeah, lots of snacks. Good snacks. Eat them. Eat them in your mouth. With
Eat them
your
while they're
teeth. Eat them with your teeth and tongue and cheeks. And
Quick, they're going cold.
Hurry.
Hurry.
Hurry, it's getting cold. It's getting
Let's
cold.
go to an break. Shohei Ohtani is at his home in Southern California. California. Welcome back to the Anime Protagonist Podcast.
What a return.
I am still reeling, but the baseball fans out there will know what I'm...
Yeah. By the way, that contract's cool. I love it.
I hate it.
Really? Oh. Yeah. You and I, once again, polar opposites.
Well, we'll talk
somehow,
about that
impossibly, the three of us are polar opposites
on
everything.
Well, I mean, it's three people. We're going to be...
The odds that one of us disagrees is
Listen,
great. That's the beauty.
No, we'll talk about this off air, because I know what you mean, and I don't hate that.
I think the whole situation is kind of funny.
I never want to go through that again. It hurt me. We're going to review Toradora. That's what we're reviewing here. That's what we do on this podcast. We talk about anime and we review anime from time to time. And this time we're reviewing Toradora, which happened to be our listener's choice winner for this quarter.
Yeah, we kind of do a quarter. It's
every
quarterly
2 months.
almost. Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, first things first, I just want to acknowledge that this anime was nominated by me. I am the winner.
Give yourself a point on our yearly total, which I guess should be almost finalized at this point. Right?
Yeah, if I kept track of it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I'll go back and I'll take a look, but I definitely will give myself a point for this one.
I know.
Yeah, no. Oh, no, the soundboard's not working. That's nice. Imagine a ding sound there.
Just pretend.
Pretend.
Cole, you are the editor of the audio portion. You could put a ding in after the fact.
I could, but I probably won't. First things first, we should probably just say, what is Toradora?
Yeah,
what is anime?
If somehow you've never heard of it. Yeah,
Toradora is an anime that is based on a light novel.
Toradora is based on a light novel. I always forget that Toradora is based on a light novel. Basically, let me read the synopsis off of AniList, because I don't want to unintentionally spoil anything.
Did you go over this kind of rough structure of our reviews? I don't remember.
Should I do that? Probably. Basically, what we'll do is we'll kind of talk about things that needn't be spoiled to begin with. So we'll talk about the background of it, inspiration, kind of the themes of the story, OPED, all that
stuff, kind of
big picture stuff, the stuff that doesn't need to be spoiled. Then we'll do a big spoiler warning. Don't worry, you will be warned before we dive into spoilers. Then at that point, we'll be more free to discuss. We'll give our ratings and everything before the spoiler warning as well. So
yeah,
you should get a sense of how we feel about it. Before the spoiler warning as well, like we mentioned before the break, Mike will be revealing what anime we'll be reviewing next. Let us know if you were correct in your guess.
Yeah. And hopefully I forgot to say it, but comment your guess. Let's see if you're right. Prove it. Put the money where the paste is.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah. Put your money where your butt is.
Yeah.
Put your butt where your front is.
Put it on the back of your front.
Yeah.
Kiss my
front
butt.
Toradora, Cole.
Kiss my front butt.
Okay, Toradora. Ryuji Takasu is a gentle high school student with a love for housework, but in contrast to his kind nature, he has an intimidating face that often gets him labeled as a delinquent. Oh no! On the other hand is Taiga Aisaka, a small doll-like student who is anything but a cute and fragile girl. Oh my goodness. What a twist.
Make him kiss.
Equipped with a wooden katana and a feisty personality, Taiga is known throughout the school as the palmtop tiger. One day, an embarrassing mistake causes the two students to cross paths. Ryuji discovers that Taiga actually has a sweet side. She has a crush on the popular vice president Yusaku Kitamura, who happens to be his best friend. But things only get crazier when Ryuji reveals that he has a crush on Minori Kushieda, Taiga's best friend.
What a coincidence.
Oh my god.
Toradora is a romantic comedy that follows this odd duo as they embark on a quest to help each other with their respective crushes, forming an unlikely alliance in the process.
Yeah, but little do they know that the true love is the one they had for each other.
Jay spoils the entire show.
I don't think that's a spoiler.
No, I feel like it's kind of obvious what's going to happen, right?
Well, I mean, there's a whole like voiceover about it at the start of the show.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
They talk about like, they're like having a conversation with each other.
Anyway.
Voiceover.
Also, it's just like the perfect early 2000s trailer narration.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
like,
I see what you're going for.
Yeah.
So basically, Jay obviously hated this experience.
Yep.
Which this I alluded to this at the start of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed that first half, listener, because this second half is going to be a rough ride. Jay and I will be at each other's throats.
I will take on my signature role of
I
trying to get you guys to be friends and just continue on with the podcast instead of just screaming at each other and hating
feel like
each other.
if anything, Cole's gonna be mad at me, but I haven't even said anything about my thoughts on this show.
You got a little bit of an I see that Dr. Pepper in your hands. You're feeling a little spicy today.
Yeah, you're feeling a little
zesty.
7 signature spices in that Dr. Pepper.
Zero's producer son would agree that this is a premier drink.
It's also
I would also agree.
It's my grandmother's favorite drink as well.
Dr. Pepper is the best soda.
Yeah.
You know what, Jay?
Let's beer.
You can agree on that.
Are you kidding me?
The contrarian is going to contrarian.
No,
Cole.
okay.
Was finding a bridge.
Dr. Pepper is really good. Honestly, like if you caught me on a different day, I'd probably say Dr. Pepper. Like I'd probably agree with you.
And
but
like,
you're
feeling
now,
contrarian.
Right now, because I'm drinking it, I probably want to say Dr. Pepper. But like, man, that elusive Barks root beer that like is barely in stores.
Hard to find.
It is hard to find. Yeah, it's got bite. I think that's the problem. They got to take it out of the stores because it's got too much bite.
I like that bite. It bites back. You bite into it.
It hurts.
And it bites back, and it's like, whoa,
it hurts me.
That's some bite. That's some bite.
I'm bleeding.
Sometimes you just you gotta like to bleed.
What's happening? What is happening right now?
So the setup for this show, obviously, we kind of the synopsis I read kind of alludes to it. Basically, Ryuji is a delinquent-looking dude who has an obsession with cleaning. That's like our introduction to him.
Mm-hmm.
He finds some mold and he's got to clean it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Then he goes to school and people are all scared of him because he's Ryuji.
Because he's got like a creep, like scary, a scary demeanor.
Yeah, because they kind of go over that his family, like his dad was like a gangster or whatever, and he's kind of just like got his like dad's like menacing gangster look to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thankfully for Ryuji, though, his best friend is Kitamura, who is the vice president of the school, and he's just I don't know,
just a
close
chill guy.
He's just a chill dude.
Yeah.
He's semi-chill, I would say, because he does some. He's probably the most unhinged character in this dang show.
He's pretty unhinged. He's your classic glasses coon.
Yeah.
You never know what he's gonna do. Well, also he's like, he's chill at the same time, but you never really know what he's. He's
kind of like that, like everybody's friend character.
Yeah, you know, he's class president for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Ryuji's crushing on Minori Kushieda, who is kind of like the Genki girl, jock, tomboy type.
Yotsuba from the Quince. There's a lot of like
Quince.
Classic stereotypes. We got Glasses Kun, we got the Genki sports girl.
Yeah.
And we got the quintessential tsundere and taiga.
The ultimate tsundere.
The ultimate tsundere.
I feel like I wouldn't be remiss if I didn't ask the both of you this question. Boys, sub or dub?
Ooh, very interesting
question.
I feel like everyone knows where I'm going with this. I'm obviously a dub fan, and I think this dub is like in like the dub Hall of Fame borderline. Like it's an incredible dub, and
it is a good dub.
I've thought about going sub on the rewatch, but I watched it with Shazana, And I was like, she's just got to experience the dub on this one. It's great. Yeah.
It is a good dub.
Both options are fantastic for this one.
Yeah. I watched dub up until they went on the ski trip. And then I switched over to sub.
Okay. So what did you notice with your switch? We know Jay watched sub, by the way.
Well, both are great. Like the dub of this show, honestly, is up there with K-On! For like best dubs.
No, for sure.
There's not really a character in this that I find is super, like, it's easy to make Taiga like, she has like a very high voice.
Honestly, but I think Cassandra Lee Morris as Taiga was like perfect casting.
Perfect.
Honestly, perfect.
Yeah. She her voice is great.
Everybody actually though, even Minarine's voice is fantastic. And President, they're all great. Yeah.
Yeah, but they like they grounded Taiga's voice in the sub and the dub. Like the voices, I wouldn't pick one over the other, basically.
Yeah, I think that for me, that mostly is attributed to Taiga, because like I said, I really like Cassandra Lee Morris's portrayal of Taiga, but like after watching this new version, but like the sub, I like Kugimiria as Taiga in the Japanese as well. Like they're both great, and they're both distinct. Like they have their own style that they put into her, and I like that.
Interesting fact about the dub too is that this show didn't get dubbed for 6 years after it came out.
You know what though? I kind of like when dubs are like that.
They're generally better quality.
I get that simuldub is good and important, and it's a good thing that we have them. But like when you get a dub that's done after the fact, where the director can kind of like
look at everything and see what's coming in next, I guess.
And it's not a rush to get it out. I don't know. Like it's just, like you can tell. Like this dub is great.
It is a good dub. I see what you like. I get what you mean. I think that like you kind of need to find that sweet spot between like getting it out in like a time sensitive manner, but also like being able to honor the story and the characters and just like everything that made the original sub good.
Go listen to my grievance from last week about starting anime on bi-weekly schedules. I think that might help here.
Yeah.
But continuing, this is the first time I've ever heard Jay praise a dub too, so this is kind of cool for me.
I think it's a pretty universally praised dub.
I think at the same time, a lot of my praise goes to the fact that I originally watched the dub of this show when I first watched it.
Okay.
So this was your first time actually watching the sub?
This is my first time watching the sub. And like while I was rewatching this show, I was kind of going like, wait, why did I watch the dub for this show? I was watching, like I had already seen Your Lie in April at this point.
Maybe because it was new at the time?
No, like it had been out for a while.
I think if you watched it on like Funimation, I think maybe they only had the dub.
That could be possible.
It might have been.
Yeah, I think they did the dub and it would have came out in like 20...
No, because I didn't have Funimation.
It came out in 2014.
Was it on Netflix?
No, I watched it on Crunchyroll because that's how I found out that the 3-minute thing. Because it showed that like watched for every episode, and then like on the last episode, 3 minutes. And
for I was listeners, like, Jay did not watch the final 3 minutes, the post-credit stuff.
So when I went back to watch the show for the review, I went through it and I was like, oh yeah. I watched it on Crunchyroll, and then I went and it said 3 minutes left on episode 25, and my legitimate reaction was, no way. I never actually finished Toradora. Now I have.
And with this one, if you haven't watched this show, the last 3 minutes are pretty important, I would say. But we'll get to that in the spoiler section.
It wraps everything up. I wouldn't say it like turns everything around though, if you don't like it.
But if you watch the other 25, you want to watch 25 episodes of this, watch the final 3 minutes. It's
it's the cathartic part.
It's kind of a payoff.
To be fair, because I get it. It's kind of like a mid-credit scene that plays during the credits. And like when I was younger, I like got to the credits and I was like, okay, I'm done. I can say I finished it. There's nothing else.
Pure efficiency. I need that Annie list score. Let me put it on my Annie list and move on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done the tradition here. Is there other things we need to talk about the setup? I've done the thing where I looked at reviews of it and I wanted to read a couple for you.
Lovely. I would love to hear some reviews.
Okay. The best romance anime that even not romance fans end up loving. I feel like there's a better way to word that, but
yeah. A little clunky.
A little clunky, but it gets the point across.
The sentiment is heard, yeah.
Yeah. Driven by unconvincing, over-personified characters with weak motivations and reasoning. Frustrating to watch.
Okay,
there we go.
Jay Garrity wrote
that story.
those two are equally upvoted on this. The next one is these are more recent, less liked reviews, but Toradora presents a realistic look at love and a beautiful message on being yourself and the courage it takes. I feel like I agree most with that third one personally.
I agree with that third one. Okay, well, you know what? That second one kind of opens up to maybe something that I will say, because I watched this now finally as, you know, I tried to take off my rose-colored glasses and watch this as maybe more with a critical eye.
Yeah. Critique. Yeah.
It is a very melodramatic show. It is extremely I don't want to say unrealistic because it is like everything happens in it.
I think everything happens for a reason. Like it's understandable why like moment A leads to moment B, which leads to moment C. And I think the melodrama is kind of more heavy in the back half of the show than the front half.
Yeah, but it's understandable because they're kids.
That's what I was just gonna say. Is like when I hear like a high school thing is over dramatic. You know what else is over dramatic? The entire high school experience.
I mean, you're experiencing
being a teenager,
teen angst, right?
Yeah.
I think that like the melodrama is not what turned me off from this show. Like I say turned me off, but like really, and I'll just get into the meat potatoes of it. There is a lot of stuff that I think is good here. But I don't think it's...
Stop. We're done.
Yeah. Okay. And that was Jay's final thoughts.
But I don't think... I don't think it's sublime or anything. It's kind of like... I think it's kind of like... There's a lot of stuff that I think has so much potential. Just gotta rearrange those puzzle pieces.
And I think part of that might be... Like, it's based on light novels. And it does adapt all 10 light novels in these 25 episodes, which is, I feel like that's probably like my biggest issue with, as Cole said, I watched this this is my second watch of it. And I kind of try to be a little more critical this time around. The first time I watched it, I thought it was like, oh, that was really good. And then just kind of didn't really think too much about it. I just kind of watched it brain off. This one, I kind of try to think about it more. And you definitely notice that the pacing gets wonky at times because it's just trying to hit the big notes of the story. And maybe you lose a little bit of that breathing room in between.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, here's the first book, you know, where the first book ends, and then that's the whole arc. So yeah, essentially you've got this 26 episode show with essentially 10 arcs in it.
Yeah.
Which can be
it's a lot. There's a lot that happens in this show.
It's a lot that happens in this show. Yeah.
While I was watching it, the series that like I kind of compared it to, and like it was kind of it was kind of involuntary until I remembered that it was the same author. That was Golden Time. Like I feel like it had a very similar structure and like a very similar sense of melodrama in its narrative between the two. And
I honestly find Toradora a little more grounded than Golden Time.
Sure, but I think at the same time, at the same time, like there's a lot of like crazy stuff, like the amnesia stuff that happens.
That's what I mean. Like Golden Time's got this weird stuff going on. Yeah.
And like also at the same time, like the characters in Golden Time are a bit older. So like there's that youthful angst that's kind of not entirely lost, but kind of like a bit watered down.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
you would expect from a university student.
Yeah. Another comparable, I'd probably say, Jay, hate to say it, but Horimiya would be.
I do get that, especially from the lens of like you know, being who you truly are versus how you're seen.
Right.
I think another thing too that I'd compare it to with Horimiya as well is that it's what I'd call a believable romance with. I know that one review said that they don't have good motivations, but all the relationships in this show kind of felt earned and realistic.
Again, because they're all kids. So
yeah
they're kind of dumb.
They are all kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of my problems with this show is things that I wish had happened that didn't. And I feel
maybe
like
they happen in the light novel too. You never know.
I mean, I doubt it. Just like because I feel like the overall story from the light novel is here. It's just like little things that and
you can dive into your plot rearranging in the plot section too.
Yeah, we'll
it's interesting that you guys bring up those other shows that are similar to it, because I looked on the AniList recommendations list here.
Yes,
Pet Girl of Sakura So.
Yeah,
one of Jade that really likes. Kaguya-sama Love is War. I feel like that's a good one as well. Kind of that similar vibe of two people that don't realize they like each other sort of thing going on. Golden Time and Horimiya, and Snafu and Bunny Girl Senpai are the next couple there.
Snafu, I can see. Yeah,
I can see Snafu. I can also kind of see Bunny Girl Senpai.
It's funny because, as Jay's kind of alluding to, he didn't really like this show, but there's like a bunch of those shows are all like goats in Jay's mind. What I can tell.
I think what it might come down to is this is the primordial ooze that those shows that Jay liked.
Yeah.
Emerged from. Yeah.
It's like saying you don't like the Beatles, but you like other pop music. It's like, but you wouldn't have Katy Perry without the Beatles, like.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
Very timely reference.
I know. It just showed my age there.
I feel like you think I like this show less than I actually do. I don't hate this show. I just don't think it's as great as people often say it is.
I think that's a pretty popular sentiment. I think when I first watched it, I kind of had that thought of like, oh, why is this so, like, this is really popular. It must be like one of the best shows of all time. And despite what Cole might say, I think it's very good, but there's definitely things that I could see why it's not one of the highest rated shows of all time, is what I would say.
Yeah.
My thing with it too is like, it's one of those shows where maybe you have to watch like some reviews and stuff of it to kind of get into the meat of it.
You're saying you need a high IQ to understand the complexities.
He's saying you're not intelligent to understand this cinematic masterpiece.
And maybe it's a detriment to the show in and of itself that you kind of have to be like walked into like, no, like it's about like acceptance and realizing that the fairy tale romance isn't real. What is real is like what's in front of you.
Yeah.
So I actually wrote that in my notes, is like, this anime is about not running away from your problems and like being true to yourself and like just owning like, oh, okay, this is how I feel. I just need to deal with that. I can't just push it underneath and just bury it. I need to deal with it and not run away. And the other thing that I thought it was about really is like discovering what real nitty gritty, messy love is like. Like that's really the two big themes of this show that I can think of.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. Basically, wholeheartedly. Like, characters are constantly like, they're constantly in their own heads about their feelings.
Yeah, if they would just have it's one of those ones where they just have a conversation.
Have a conversation.
This show is very like introspective in how they, and I mean that's kind of the nature of a novel. Is like it allows characters to be more introspective and
high school romance too.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm just looking at this from a meta perspective. Like, a lot of, or rather, novels, because of how it's narrated, allows for allows for more introspection and deep dives into what characters are thinking than, say, a manga or some other piece of medium.
Yeah, that's why you always hear like, "Oh, the book was better than the movie," because the movie can't do what the book does, right?
Right.
Yeah, you can't delve into the psyche of a.
Yeah.
You also can't spend too much time just like delving into like a single moment. You got to move on. Unless
you're
show.
Hunter, and then you can just spend 4 episodes on 7 seconds.
I think where a light novel would do better with this than maybe the anime does is, let's introduce the new character in Ami, who isn't mentioned at all in the synopsis, who is a friend of oh jeez, let me get the names here.
Yusaku?
Yes, Kitamura. Ami Kawashima is a model, and she's kind of like two-faced a little bit. She's got like this bad side and her good side, and she's constantly trying to hide her bad side. But what I'm getting at is she's constantly making these little comments under her breath that hint at her liking Ryuji. Which comes off as melodramatic in an anime, whereas in a light novel, it might come off as less melodramatic because you can portray that with inner dialogue instead.
Sure.
So maybe that's something where the anime versus the light novel. I've never read the light novel. I have read the manga.
Well, that's one thing too that Jay, I think, mentioned in the Discord, I believe, where he said that he prefers the light novel. I guess we could talk about kind of the art style of the show, but I think you said you prefer the light novel art style better.
So I prefer the light novel art style. Just if you were to put the two art styles next to each other and be like, which one do you like more? I'd say the light novel, but I feel like the anime.
I would say the anime.
Well, if I were to elaborate on that, if the anime does have I do understand why they did what they did with the anime's art style, because like the more animated art style allows for more dynamic expressions in animation and making the animation more expressive without going off model, and I think that is in and of itself good character design. But if you were to ask me, just looking at two pictures, which one I prefer, it's the light novel one. I think that's kind of like attributed to the fact that like the light novel art is drawn to be a static piece of art, whereas the anime art is drawn to move.
And but they are very different styles, I will say. I think a good part of it is that
it uses the light novel art as like a base, but it's kind of its own thing. And the art designer, like, I mean, they're a good character designer. Like, I mean, look at the stuff they've done. Anohana, most of Makoto Shinkai's modern films. Like, I mean, they've done good stuff. And I'm not saying that these character designs are bad. Just gun to my head, which one I like more.
Yeah, you know? I don't think it's really particularly a hot take either.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, like, does it really matter which one is better? Like, I mean, it doesn't really. Yeah,
I will say that I enjoyed.
It's like a small drop in the bucket.
I will say that I enjoyed the anime art style of this one. I feel like for like a mid, I guess it's late 2000s anime, this one like looks pretty contemporary and modern and good. For being from like the time it came out, like the animation's all great, and like I think that they did a good job of, like you said, simplifying the character designs, but like making them almost more iconic. The problem I have a lot of the time with light novel stuff, and I can see this with the ones for this one, is that they kind of look samey a lot of the time. It's kind of hard to really differentiate them. Whereas this one, like I show you a picture of Taiga, you're like, oh, that's Taiga. I show you a picture of Minarine, you're like, oh, there's Minarine. And like they're kind of tropes in themselves. Like they look like a lot of other characters, but you could pretty easily tell them apart just by the way that they are, I guess. I
think this show just is kind of tropey through and through. Like, I mean, it plays with a lot of tropes in both the character archetypes and the story and plot development.
Oh, for sure.
In and of itself.
Even the name is Toradora, which is tiger and dragon. And it's But I like that about it.
I do want to just comment on the animation for this one, because a romance comedy anime has no right being this well animated.
No, it's crazy. Like I went nuts every time that like Taiga would like headbutt Ryuji or go flying and kick him or something. I was just like, why is this animated so great? Or like, Taiga goes rolling somewhere. Minarine's animations are fantastic too.
Minarine's animations are great. Like, because she has a lot of depth to her character. So like when she is going through, like, there's one scene that happens at the end when Minarine like calls out Ryuji on something. It's so like, it's just this little scene and it's animated just like you can just see how like frustrated she is in this little moment.
It's
just,
they do a really good job in this show of like capturing the emotion in the animation, I guess is maybe the other way to say what you're saying. You can see when someone's disappointed. You can see when someone's like happy. You see, like, you can really tell the emotions just if I show you just a still image of the character, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, of course, elephant in the room when you talk about Toradora, like the fight scene in it, I think it's been on like lists of like best anime fights. There is a specific fight scene in Toradora that happens in a classroom.
Yes, that thing was like pure Sakuga. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like
the
it
cat
really,
fight.
it has no business. And maybe it was like at the end of like, when they put in more effort into shows like this. Like now you see like a generic romance anime and like it's pretty to look at, but the animation in it isn't necessarily anything to go after. Like the blur lines and stuff that they animate in this, it's just old school animation, and I love
sure.
it.
I like it. It's kind of, I feel like JC staff kind of did like almost a bit of like a Trigger or like a Shafty. It just feels a little bit like that, but it's not, it definitely isn't, but I feel it's in that same vein.
It's reminiscent.
Yeah. It's a little over the top and zany and in a good way.
Jay, do you have any comments on the animation?
I mean, I feel like you've covered most of it. It is a well animated show. For what it is, and I mean, it looks good.
Looks good.
Looks good. For the record, like, this came out the season before Spice and Wolf, our last review. And it looks miles better.
Oh no argument from me. Toradora, it's incredible. Like, that was one thing that I like explicitly took the time to notice. Because when I watched it for the first few times, like, I hadn't watched the animation. I knew it was good, like the fight scenes and stuff. It's these little things that happen in the show that are just good, which again, I think that's more simplified character design as compared to the light novel lends itself well to a more dynamic animation style, and which I think is what Jay said.
There's two things that light novels don't have that anime has, and one is animation and the other one is sound. And I thought the other thing that they did is they did a really good job with the soundtrack at this one of basically what I always look for in a soundtrack is like, I want it to amplify the emotions, really is what it should do in my mind. And
pull
on
your heartstrings.
Like that theme that every time someone cries or like something really emotional happens, I don't know what it's called, but God dang it gets my eyes misty every time.
It's called the crying theme.
Is it really?
No.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I forget what it's called, but you know the one I'm talking about.
It's called The Song That Never Ends.
Yeah. It's the song that, anyway.
Yeah. Oh no. I'm
not going to continue
what
saying
have I done?
It.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, like the sound in it is, I mean, the OST is good.
Don't forget that Christmas song too.
It's
the
fine.
Christmas song. Yeah. The OST is fine. The sound is fine as well. What I do want to comment on, where I think we might get some disagreements here, speaking of songs,
Mm-hmm.
OP.
Mm-hmm.
Listen.
Cook.
I'm
Yes,
cooking.
chef? Yeah.
This is an iconic opening. Iconic.
So, I'm kind of split on this OP, and this was in my notes. Hold on, let
For
me read.
record,
Let me
I
read.
Clarify the first one, right?
The first OP.
The first one, the first one.
I will say I like the second one more, but the first one is just iconic. The opening shot of like Taiga putting the socks on and like looking at the camera, it's just
So
excellent.
These are my two comments on the first OP, because I first of all, I much prefer the second OP, but these are the first
checks his
two
notes.
These are the first two notes that I wrote about the first OP.
Okay.
OP is memorable, if nothing else. The song stands out among the pack. And then I wrote,
What pack?
What pack?
the pack of every other OP that has ever happened in anime.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I also wrote, the first OP is almost Lucky Star level annoying. Not quite there, but close.
Jay doesn't like girls singing, I guess.
No,
Yeah.
my favorite song is by a girl. What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But no, I don't know what it is. It's just like, maybe annoying's the wrong word, but like it's just
very
cringe.
stimulating is what I would say. It's very stimulating, and maybe Jay doesn't like that.
It's
don't
cringe.
know.
It's very cringe.
I don't agree even a little bit. I thought, while I wouldn't put really any of these songs on like my anime playlist, I thought they were all good. I liked all of them. And honestly, I think I like the EDs better for this show. Even though I'll admit the first OP is iconic. The second OP is better than the first one, I would say.
The second OP
from
is
a technical
better.
and music standpoint, everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of just more, but it's more generic, I would say. It's more of a generic OP.
I thought we'd have more of a argument here. I kind of figured Jay would kind of relate this to Lucky Star with the first one.
It's kind of sim. Yeah,
I like the art direction in the first OP as well.
Sure.
It does that like late mid 2000s thing where it shows like the character and then like the name of the character.
Yeah.
Which is corny, but like in a nice way.
You know what? Corn's good. I like corn once in a while. You throw some corn in the pot.
Yeah, it's got the juice.
Yeah, it's got the juice.
What?
Jay's not on TikTok.
Yeah, Jay's not on the memes. This timely meme.
Oh, ancient meme. It's only 6 months old.
It's anyway. Like a year old, dude.
Oh, anyway.
Yeah, it's
I will say every time that the ED1 started playing, the vanilla salt blah 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 song, like that, they did a good job of like overlaying it over the ends of the episode. I'm a sucker for that trope. That happens all the time, and I love it every time.
You're like, here it comes.
I hear the OP, like the first notes of the OP play as the show's still going. I'm like, yes, let's go. And then
my favorite part of the first ED is like the umbrellas kind of moving along that like the crosswalk.
Yep.
Or the sidewalk. Like
my favorite part is Kushieta's absolutely insane walking cycle.
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on with her knees are like double jointed or something.
I was
there.
so confused by that walk cycle.
Like she is strutting.
She is moving. She be moving.
Yeah, she be moving through that space. And I really like the second ED with like the whole orange. Basically it's just cooking oranges into a nice little dessert.
The orange motif,
it's a little shoujo fruits basket-y a little bit, but I like it.
Yeah, but the second half of the show, like when
is a little more dramatic.
Is more shoujo-y.
Like
yeah, it's more dramatic.
It's a bit more spicy than the first half. Yeah.
And you see that with the OPs and EDs, because the first OP and ED are a little more fun and zany and wild, I guess, and like bubblegummy. And then the second half is where kind of like things get a little darker and there's just tension and stuff's flying.
To the Naruto.
It's Toradora Shippuden.
Yeah, kind of. Like I was making a note of it. Like you could tell these books were released later. Like they just feel more narratively complex as the show goes on.
Once
like the
start
start of it is very generic.
Yeah.
And then by the end, it's like, okay, we've got all of these moving parts. We've got all of these different dynamics between the characters and stuff. It sets us up nicely. And
I will say though, because the first half is kind of like really loose, I could definitely see people not getting interested in it, especially like being like, oh man, you got to get past those first 12, 13 episodes and then it gets good.
I guess that's a good question. Like, how many episodes would you give this one?
I would give it its first arc.
Like 3-ish episodes, I think.
Yeah, the first arc basically ends where Taiga or Ryuji tells Taiga that she's a tiger and he's a dragon.
Yeah.
That's, you can tell that's like the end of the first book.
It basically, it basically kind of like introduces what the show is going to be about. For the most part.
I think it teases Ami after that.
Yeah. I would wait for Ami to come in. I think
she kind of elevates it really, and then you really kind of get. But I think the 3 episodes where you get that climax and stuff. I think if you're really not into it at that point, you could. But I think you're more likely to continue.
My real answer, like, and nobody should take this for what it's worth, is like give it until
the end. Yeah.
No, give it until like the
last 3 minutes.
Give it until like the final credits.
The last 3 minutes of the show, like I did all those years ago.
Yeah.
Give it until the high school, like the culture festival.
I can see that.
I can see that.
That's like kind of like where it starts.
That's where the tonal shift begins.
That's when the tonal shift begins. Like you start getting like family drama and stuff that's built in.
Yeah. It does a good job of easing you into it, honestly.
Or I would also say the like swimming competition between Taiga and Ami.
You know what? That might be a better answer actually, just because it's earlier.
Yeah. I think it also like gives you an idea of like what the relationships between the characters are going to be like.
Yeah. And like you see the buds are forming for sure at that point. Whereas maybe the first 3 episodes, you're getting a vibe more than anything.
You understand what's going to happen, but you don't exactly know how.
Yeah, it's just if you drop it too early, you're gonna just think like, okay, Taiga's just a and Ryuji's just kind of a pushover
freak. Yeah.
And it's like, well, yes, but there's more to these characters than just that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an oversimplification. They're tropes, that is correct, but they're
tropes, but tropes are made to be.
They're like an onion.
There's layers. Taiga, like when you talk about tsunderes, like there's a reason why Taiga's always brought up. Like she is like she's goated with the sauce.
She's fine.
Yeah. As a tsundere, I mean,
come on, Jay. Even
as a tsundere, like there is no tsundere that is more tsundere than Taiga. No,
Asuka's an argument I could see, but
like
Asuka's like the quintessential tsundere that people.
She is the one who like came up with the term.
Yeah, I'm gonna. We'll talk about this post spoilers because it's kind of a spoiler. Yeah. What do we say about best boy, best girl? Do we want to?
This is a tough one for me. There's a lot.
I like.
This is very easy for me.
Let's start with best boy, Jay.
I feel like there's no real competition here, Ryuji.
Well, I mean, there is some competition.
So I'll come in with the competition. Taiga's dad, I think, is best. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, that's a meme answer. Honestly, I really like the president. I forget his name at this minute.
Kitamura.
Kitamura, that's it. Yeah, Kitamura. I really like Kitamura. I like he's kind of his role in the show is he kind of is just what Ryuji thinks he is. Ryuji like thinks he's like this dad figure sort of. He kind of acts as like the dad figure to everybody, and he thinks that he's kind of doing what's best for everybody. But what the president is really doing is he's kind of like seeing everything from a bird's eye view and kind of just guiding everyone around him to like what he knows is best. And I think that's admirable. He's a good boy. I like his zaniness too. I like that he's like just you never know what he's going to do. Like he has a whole arc with his whole crush thing there, right? And that's he dives into his feels a little bit. But then he also goes to there's a point where he like just walks out and he's just wearing a towel and people are like, what are you doing? And then he lifts the towel up because he's like also an idiot at the same time. And it's just like, you never know what this.
Yeah. You never know what he's going to do. Which is why I gotta go with Ryuji.
Ryuji's good too.
Ryuji is such like, he's got enough he's got enough complexity to him as well that I think he's just like a perfect protagonist for this type of story. He is the perfect Toradora protagonist.
Oh, good. Yes. Put that on the bingo card.
Yeah. Like he's just what the story needs.
Yeah. You know what? I think the story benefits a lot from him being, he's the good kind of the clueless protagonist, because a lot of the story revolves around him not fully realizing what's going on and like what his actions are actually doing and what other people's actions are meaning around him.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when I watch lesser well-crafted shows, it'll just come off as like, okay, how do you not realize that? But in this one, you kind of get it, I think. I
kind of like Ryuji because it's not that he doesn't know what's going on. It's that he thinks he's doing everybody right by choosing
looking
not
away.
Not addressing it, because he thinks everybody else wants something else, because nobody talks to each other in the show, which is the whole talk to each other. Mm-hmm. Write a note. I think write a post-it note for everybody.
Yeah.
No, just have an honest conversation with yourself.
It's like a kumbaya.
Yeah.
Have a kumbaya. Yeah. Okay, now the contentious part of the review begins. Mm-hmm. Best girl in this show.
Mm-hmm. So there's some good girl characters in this show. The first one obviously is Taiga. Second, you got Minarine, you got Ami, and of course, I would be remiss to not mention Ryuji's mom.
Ryuji's mom is low-key.
Excuse me, the teacher. Hello.
I like the teacher too.
The teacher is fantastic too. The cast in this show is fantastic.
The adults are just spitting facts, just spitting wisdom. Like I love her. I love the teacher's like speech to the class at the end.
I actually wrote it down. I loved it so much that I actually wrote it down to bring up because I thought it was so fantastic. And it's basically like, one thing that's funny is in the last episode, there's like quite a few little speeches where they're just kind of like, in case you didn't get it, here it is.
Yeah.
And what she says is, you find yourself at different crossroads when you go through life. You can choose to stop or turn back or go a different way. The point is you have to make a decision. And like, that's really kind of what this is all about. And that's just great advice in life. It's like Cole's favorite band, Rush, says, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice.
You still made a choice. Yeah.
Yeah. You still must decide. If you just kind of waffle and do nothing your whole life, then you don't go anywhere.
That's a choice you've made.
That's a choice.
Well, that's a choice you've made.
Yeah. You've chosen to go nowhere.
You've chosen to do nothing.
Best girls.
Best girl, Mike?
Oh, no, Jay went first for the last one.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he did. Okay, Jay.
I did. Well, there actually is no competition here because it's Ami.
I knew Jay would like Ami. Yeah.
I mean,
he's a sucker for a brooding. Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad that Jay picked Ami because now I can rag on Ami. No, Ami's kind of the consensus best girl. A lot of people really like Ami.
She is.
She's pretty good. I think there's an essence of feeling bad for her that maybe comes into
the thing with Ami is people be like, she's the most mature. She knows what she wants, but she doesn't know what she wants. She's constantly like, if she just said what she wanted to Ryuji,
if she was more open about it, I feel like there'd be more there.
Mm-hmm. But again, like, I said like, now I can dunk on Ami. I'm not dunking on her because I like Ami again as a character. She is conflicted and she is believable given her situation.
But I think that's what makes her the most interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the fact that like, I like her inner conflict at the beginning. I like how she inserts herself into that dynamic. I like her chemistry with Ryuji. I like I like how she kind of like plays off everyone really, and just kind of like she says things, but like she also does like there's this dichotomy of her like saying things outright but not saying them clearly enough. And I find that very compelling.
The thing that I thought about with Ami is that she's the most light novel protagonist of this. Like, she's like the Aya Nakoji of this anime. where she's like she's always saying these little tidbits to come off super smart and stuff.
Yeah,
it just
but
feels very.
I think the argument against that is she's not super smart.
Yeah, I don't think she is.
No, she's just kind of saying what everybody else sees out loud,
and she's also kind of like two-faced.
Yeah,
in the sense that like there's this one scene where she kind of just makes an offhanded comment to Minarine, and it kind of like
blows up.
It kind of blows up, and she didn't need to do that.
Yeah, she
though very believable.
I think it's like she's very good at reading the room and figuring out like how she wants to deal with that.
She can piss off people.
Well, like either piss people off or just kind of like play it off so she's in the spotlight.
I don't know. Right? She kind of strikes me as like that idea in your head, like when somebody says something and you're like, oh, I should just say this and it'll just piss them off. Yeah. But she doesn't have that filter to not say that.
You know? It's kind of, it's good though, because she's kind of growing that way. But I
really like how Ryuji kind of pushes her to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael.
He does with everyone. So for I really am conflicted. They're all very good girls in this show. The characters are all really good. But I think if I was forced to choose who I think the best girl is, other than Ryuji's mom, because she's fantastic.
I love Ryuji's mom.
Especially like in the finale. Oh. I'm going to go with Minarine for this one. I think she's fantastic. I think out of all the characters, she probably has, maybe other than Taiga, the most growth. I like her whole vibe that she has. And I'm not usually one that goes for the Genki girl. And I can't really dive too deep into her whole thing without getting into the spoiler section, I guess. But I do like the way that she is similar to everyone else, wrestling with her true feelings while also trying to help everybody else and do what she thinks is best for everyone else instead of just doing what's best for her. But kind of like what I've said about the president there, I think that she does a good job of pushing the plot forward and making sure that things happen in a way that is good for everybody. I don't know exactly how to put it.
Yeah. She's got a lot of depth to her.
Yeah.
Which is why too. Which is why she was my best girl. I mean, obviously, like from a AniPro lore standpoint, of course she's best girl. She's Genki girl. She's awesome. But I mean, Mike, I'm glad that you picked her because she belongs on the list of best girls. Again, another shout out to Ryuji's mom. She is.
I feel like we can't pick her for best girl, but she is a fantastic.
No, I just character. Like there's that scene where Ryuji kind of like snaps at her and runs away, and it's like, oh my god,
your heart breaks.
Yeah. Taiga. I mean, I love Taiga. I mean, it's so cliche to pick the main characters as my best boy and best girl, but like sometimes the obvious answer is the right one. She's got so much depth to her. She's got so much depth to her, but then like when characters like kind of break through that facade, she's like just a nice girl herself too. She likes Christmas. Which is great.
Yeah. Loves Christmas. Loves Santa.
Big Santa believer. Yeah.
Santa believer. And she's got some of the best scenes in the show. She's a scene stealer. IMO. Memorable moments from waifus is on the list of things.
Oh, I thought we were rolling into final thoughts.
We'll roll into final thoughts, but I don't know. That just struck me. Do you have any memorable moments from your waifus?
Where does it say that?
It says waifus memorable moments.
Oh, missed a comment in our doc.
Oh, there we go.
Bring it up. Yeah. There we go.
Okay. I don't want to get into memorable moments because they're kind of spoiler.
That's kind of spoiler territory.
What if we remember all the waifus that were lost along the way? Then we get like a Academy Awards B-roll of all the headshots. waifus.
Well, I am interested though in our ending thoughts though, because Jay, I'm pleasantly surprised. I thought you'd come into this. Jay's been saying all week about how he's got so many
antagonizing
notes.
Cole.
I do.
About this.
Okay,
yeah.
I just want to say I'm not good at antagonizing people.
You did a good job this week.
You sure are, my friend. Yeah.
At least not in person. Over text, it's so much easier.
Oh yeah, it is easier.
Yeah.
Braver text.
I mean, I feel like most people are braver over text because it's like, oh, I don't have to say it and watch someone's reaction in real time.
I am interested in your final thoughts.
Yeah,
though.
let's hear your final thoughts.
I think that this show has so much potential to be something better than it is. I feel like I didn't buy Taiga and Ryuji's eventual romantic relationship, and I thought that like their interactions and chemistry before that kind of felt very friendly, and I really wanted to see them stay as friends, because that's kind of the vibe that I got throughout most of the show up until like the ski trip, I'd say, is when like it really started like pushing that like, yeah, they're gonna be together, duh. But up until that point, it was just kind of like I wanted to see them be friends. I wanted to see them help each other in this situation. I wanted to see them just like I wanted to see like that platonic relationship between a boy and a girl that is very rare in anime, but I just didn't get that. I feel like the romantic chemistry was played off better in other areas. And there were things that were shown to me that I wish had happened because of that, but didn't. And that was a little disappointing. The overall like message and theme I think is fine, and it can stay that way and still be a little different, but without going into too many spoilers, I think that this show isn't as great as people say it is, but I think it's fine. It's fine. I'm not good at giving ratings. But look, I'm gonna be honest. The way I look at ratings is kind of like I don't like putting things into a box of like this is better than this, because like if I give an action show and a romance show both an 8, well, which one's like, you can't really compare those two. But like if I just put them in like well, this one is fun, but like the box next to it could still be more entertaining, but still kind of like could also be seen as a tier down. I feel like that's a lot easier because it's less definitive.
We do review shows though.
Yeah, at the end of the day, think of it like a snapshot of your feelings on the show from 1 to 5, basically.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think like you can still summarize your opinion without saying one is better than the other, if that makes sense. Because like at the end of the day, giving something a 3 out of 5 over a 2 out of 5 is saying that the 3 out of 5 is better, which might not necessarily be true.
I don't think that. I don't understand this, but go on. Yes,
go on.
What do you rate it? Yeah, you've said this many times, so I just every time I just kind of like I'm like, okay, yes. I don't agree, but yes, you can do what you want.
So that being said, I think I'm gonna give this I've been thinking about this for a while, and like I feel like background character is a bit too harsh, because it's not that character that like it's not my leg guy from SpongeBob.
What a reference.
My leg.
Yeah.
Or maybe it is. Maybe it is, because my leg guy is pretty memorable, but he's not like integral to everything, you know?
Jay,
Yes.
make a rating.
Hurry up. We need to talk spoilers still. And I
All
need to
right,
give
let's do background.
Okay.
Background character.
Yeah.
Michael, your turn.
I was on eggshells there waiting. Okay. I think that this, like Jay said, it's not a perfect anime by any means. But it's not too far either, honestly. It's pretty freaking good. Like on my first watch, I kind of was more feeling like, okay, this is good, but I don't think it's the masterpiece people make it out to be. And I think that's a valid take on this. I don't think it is a masterpiece, but it's dang close. And I think the way it's really what it shines in is its character development. It has a lot going on. It bounces a lot of balls in the air and it's juggling them and trying to catch them all. And I think for the most part, it succeeds. Every character kind of has their meaningful payoff or their own plot that actually has like its own finality to it that is kind of satisfying in their own way, even though not. And I do appreciate when not everyone gets a happy ending. And this is kind of a story that's just like a fact of it, right? And I thought for an older anime, the animation is quite good. It's an all-time dub. I thought, like I said, the characters are good. The weak part is probably the pacing and maybe just like the general like way the show is structured. It's kind of because they cram so much into this, it could have benefited from maybe a little bit of a longer runtime, which they already kind of did by giving it, I think there's 25 episodes and an OVA. At the end of the day, I think it's something that probably every anime fan should probably watch. Just similar to it's my metaphor that I had earlier was that the Beatles, you might not love the Beatles, but they are very important to music as a whole. And I think that this anime is kind of in that same vibe. Maybe that there's other anime that have done it better since. And there's other anime that take these tropes and work with them better. But it's good to understand the roots of where this stuff comes from and like really what the classics are. You got to appreciate the classics so you can appreciate the modern ones. And for that reason, I'm going to give Toradora I'm tossed between supporting and I'm basically a 4 and a 5, somewhere in there. I'm going to give it a supporting character for this one. I think it's really good. There's enough flaws here to take it away from that masterpiece tier and move it into the supporting character tier, I think.
Yeah. Basically what Mike said, I'd echo completely. One thing I would add is it is fairly melodramatic, like I said, understandably so, because we're talking about children. They're very believable high schoolers. They're very believable in how dramatic everything seems to be with them. The world revolves around them, so to speak. That being said, the animation is great. The voice acting is great in sub and dub. I love the characters. I love Ryuji's mom. But I can't give it a protagonist as a reviewer.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, it's a supporting character. It's definitely it walks so that modern anime can run. We've used that metaphor a few times, but I think it stands here. Like this came out in 2009. When did the light novels come out? I mean, the light novels
they were
obviously.
all 10 were finished when this started airing. So
yeah.
So obviously they were
2008, I want to say.
Yeah, like the first one must have come out
2006
years before. Yeah, so like it's primordial in the sense that it's modern romance anime. But it's done very, very well. The genre itself may contribute to me putting it down from protagonist to supporting, because I think that there are maybe better romance anime or better anime with better romantic pairings. I mean, see Spice and Wolf. I do think that Holo and Lawrence are more compelling as a pairing than
it's kind
our
of a
main
good
pair
take.
Here.
By like, because it does so much that it kind of can't be perfect at any of those things. If you're just like a pure romance fan like Jay, you're going to be left lacking, right?
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I love Toradora. If this was just pure enjoyment, it'd be a protagonist. But as the reviewer that I am forced to be here on this podcast, I got to give it a supporting.
I think the thing that I prioritize a lot because it is a romance is chemistry. And I think that the chemistry kind of fell a little flat between the leads, and that's kind of what
I'm interested to talk about that with you, but maybe we can talk about that in the
that seems like a spoiler section.
Would you say that spoilers are super important on this one? I mean, one thing I will say, the show came out in 2009.
Yeah. I think that the biggest thing that you need to keep in mind about spoilers is like it spoils kind of like the characters' backgrounds and maybe their motivations for how they are. But like it doesn't drop a bomb of like everything's changed, you know? Like I feel like anything that like has made a ginormous a narrative shift, it is kind of telegraphed in the first few episodes.
Yeah.
I would probably disagree. I think that the spoilers for this one do matter. And it's not particularly like, oh, this person ends up with this person or this person wins, quote unquote. I think really what the parts that you don't want spoiled are the way things play out.
Yeah.
The way it happens is maybe you lose some of the oomph to it if on your first watch, I would say.
It's kind of a journey is more important than the destination on this one. Yeah. I mean, okay.
It won't ruin your experience.
Delve into the spoiler section at your own risk.
That's kind of what I'm trying to say. Like, there's no like I am your father kind of spoilers that you could really drop. Like, it's kind of more
we'll
like
get into it.
It's kind of more we'll get into a through line that like maybe you don't want.
Mike, there is important work to be done before
and we're running real long, so I will be brief with it. Oh, Cole rolled his eyes. It makes us that we're running long. Okay, so my anime review, I teased it by saying it is a beloved anime. It's probably on Jay's little list. I think he confirmed that it is because he guessed, and he guessed correctly what show we will be reviewing. It is a show that is a mafia ensemble cast crime historical show. Came out in 2007. 13 episodes of 25 minutes based on a light novel. We will be reviewing Bakano, which is, I know really nothing about other than it's set in the 1930s in Chicago and there's kind of supernatural mafia stuff happening.
It kind of jumps around in time.
Yeah. I'm excited.
I hope there's hot dogs with pickles on it.
It has an all-time OP. I will say that right now.
And apparently all-time dub, I've heard as well, too.
The dub is pretty good.
Yeah.
Well,
so tune into that in January.
Tune into that after. Let's see if this works.
It's time for spoilers.
Spoilers are coming.
I think that's...
I timed it out in my head. We're good now.
You counted it out?
Yeah.
I saw you bob in your head. So, okay, Jay, I know that you put a lot of work into your
I did
idea of rearranging plot points. So I'm interested. I mean, if you can concisely.
So it's not really rearranging plot points. It's more just kind of like changing a couple of dynamics between characters and maybe a couple of different character relationships. I guess that's the same thing, but like a couple of things with how the characters are with each other. That would still kind of tell the same message, but do it in a more interesting way, at least in my opinion.
Okay, let's hear it.
So the basic cliff notes are I alluded to this, but the first one is keep Taiga and Ryuji friends. I feel like that would be more interesting of their journey from being kind of like antagonistic toward each other, more so on Taiga's part, to being like genuinely like good friends because of how they helped each other end up with their respective love interests. Maybe not necessarily like, oh, everyone has a happy ending, because like I think that idea of like, oh, you can tease Taiga and Ryuji maybe ending up together, because like I don't like this idea that like, oh, and then they eventually get married and it's all great. Like I like this idea of, and I think that this would be more realistic in my opinion, is like they like they end up with the people that they like, and then like they break up because
my only argument against that would be is you're taking agency away from the other characters. You're kind of reducing
I think that's
reducing the other. Allow me. You're kind of reducing the other characters to just being like, okay, Taiga ends up with Yusaku, and that's that.
I think
Kitamura likes somebody else.
Well, sure, but I think that depends on how you play it out. Like, he did like Taiga in the beginning, and I think that, sure, that plays in the fact that he just wanted a girlfriend at the time. But, like, I think depending on how you play it out, like, yeah, you could, like, if it just played out exactly how everything played out, the way it played out in the show, then yeah, you would just be checking all the boxes. But like if you played it out in a little bit of a different way, and I haven't like I'm not going to go into complete detail on how I would do every single story beat, but if you did it in a way where it didn't feel contrived, then sure, I think it could still work. It just would need to be a bit differently structured.
No, I'm not saying that it wouldn't work. Of course it could work. I'm just saying that it works well in the show because like the whole like one of the main themes is finding romance kind of right under your nose.
Right, but I think
that, accepting that the fairy tale romance of like you crushing on this person.
Well, it's not necessarily a fairy tale ending because like there is that allusion to them breaking up.
I think the point of this show really is that the fairy tale ending doesn't exist. The fairy tale ending's a fairy tale for a reason.
Well, yeah,
and that's kind of why I
it kind
disagree.
of is a fairy tale ending because they get together and then they get married in the end.
Yeah, but there's a lot that happens along the way, and instead of just eloping in this.
But it's still a fairy tale ending by the end. Like at the end point, the result is still the same in comparison to.
Yeah, that's just a story payoff.
But I think that again, if you changed it in a way where like that payoff is still the same, then it wouldn't just be that fairy tale ending, especially because. Again, you're alluding to this fact that they are breaking up and then they would move on. And it's just like one moment in their lives rather than like the crucial romantic moment between these two people.
Okay.
How do we feel about the eloping aspect of it?
I mean,
I'll kind of mix this into what I was going to say before with Jay's last point there is that I think that the eloping thing is a good... It's where the anime had the chance to do the anime fairy tale melodramatic thing of like, oh, we're teenagers, let's elope. You know what? I'm going to hide for 2 months and I'm going to do this. And they kind of, all the teenagers are all on board with it. And they kind of like have their moment where they realize, you know what? Like, this is good. We can't like, that's not a good way. If I do the eloping thing and I hide for 2 months, Ryuji actually says like, I'm going to come back. I'll be 18. I'll be technically an adult. But I won't be an adult because I've done this stupid childish thing. And instead I need to do the hard adult thing of just facing my problems head on and going the tough and difficult way. And then you get your real payoff in the end instead of just this happy sugar moment that you get.
Yeah, but I
really enjoyed that.
I think that you're looking at as like, this is how the story's written and we're going to make like one small minor change to it to make it different. But at the end, they do get that storybook ending that like is the same as any other. And like again, I think that like, sure, like he makes that decision of like, oh, I'm gonna go back and be an adult, but like they like, I mean, it's kind of more just a moment than like a...
Well, it's a moment in the story.
Yeah, but
they're separated for 2 years.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't feel like it paid off emotionally for me.
Yeah, and we're just gonna have to.
I mean, there's no argument
disagree,
against
right?
that.
Yeah.
And my big thing is the character growth of Taiga more than Ryuji. Yes, they agree to go back and they agree to do all of that, but Taiga chooses that no, in order to be an adult, I need to accept that Ryuji is my family, and my family will always be there for me, but I need to go and do this stuff. I need to go and grow up with my mother.
It's
Sure, but why
something
did
that sorry, let me go, Jay. It's something that I kind of believe is like another really good point that this show brings up, where like you can't truly love someone else until you love yourself. And that's kind of like one of the big things that is pushed in this story as well. And that's why she has to go off and she has to grow up as a person and like learn to love herself and her situation before she can actually be with Ryuji.
I think it's more like, why does that necessarily need to be romantic between them? Like they can, I think that moment could still hit if they're just friends. Or even like if even like if it just ended up with them breaking up later on. Like, I mean,
Jay just really wants them to break up.
Yeah,
it's like the only thing he keeps coming back to is they must break up.
I think the show would be more interesting if it was like more of just like a high school moment where like, sure, maybe they love each other, but like it's not the be all end all. It's just like a moment in their high school, but it doesn't need to be.
High school romance is
sure, but
their
not
original romances.
But most of the time, high school romances don't lead to marriage.
Right, and they don't, because their original romances are Minarine and main Ryuji and Taiga and the president. And then they realize by becoming friends and then eventually becoming lovers that that's not what they're meant to do.
Yeah, but it's still like that's their, like, realistically that is their first love. Like, I mean, there's no, like, nothing really comes to fruition between the two their original love interests. It's just kind of a fleeting thing that never really goes anywhere. Whereas with Taiga and Ryuji, they do end up together, and it's kind of like, as far as we're aware, because we never really hear about their previous dating history, but from what it's worth, we have to understand that they kind of are their first boyfriend and girlfriend. And like, it's their first boyfriend and girlfriend, and they're the ones that they marry. And like, sure, that could happen, but the likelihood is much less so than
dog streaming by
than like meeting, falling in love, and then moving on.
I don't want to get hung up on the Taiga and Ryuji stuff too much.
Well, I mean, it is
Jay's
kind
got
of
lots of notes. I know it's the whole point of the show.
It is the point of the show. Yeah, no, Jay, let's move on. I think we've made our points. Yeah. At this point, we'd just be arguing back and forth. Yeah. Is there something else that you would? Oh no! Allow me to talk about best girl, real best girl, Ryuji's mom.
Oh,
and how,
yes,
yeah, like she is so. Listen, she just provides for her son, and
that scene at the end where they trick her into reuniting with her family, and her mom is like, "You raised him good."
Yeah.
And then she just starts crying, and that's all she wanted. She just tried her best, and she just wanted someone to say, "You did good." And that makes you misty-eyed to hear that.
Yeah. And I mean, like,
I'm sorry, I can't wake him up.
And the scenes leading up to that, where Ryuji kind of like yells at her about how she is the one who like never went anywhere with her life, and he feels like she's putting this pressure on him. It's just so like heartbreaking, because
I know
it's not what's happening, period.
Yeah.
He feels that way, sure, but like she is just simply wanting genuinely what's best for him. She's not projecting onto him. She's just saying, no, like, you should. It's just a very childish stance that he's taking.
And I think in that moment when he says that to her and he sees, I feel like everyone's kind of had this moment where like you say something mean to your parents or something, and you're that angsty teenager, and then you realize, like, as you're saying, you're like, oh, I just hurt someone who really loves me. Like that. Yeah. That hurts. I'm being a jerk right now. And then you kind of do a little bit of growing up in that moment. And I think that's kind of one of the things that made him really think about what he's doing.
Yeah.
I just realized we forgot to talk about Inko too, that little bird. I love that little bird too. There's nothing really to say there. It's
not
funny.
much to say about Inko.
It's the best character in the show, actually, and completely turned the whole thing around for me.
You bastard, you.
Inko's annoying. I don't like Inko.
Sounds like Unko, which is poo.
Yeah. Well, Inko is just, I think it's just parakeet. In Japanese. Yeah. This is when I watched Boy and the Heron, and they were calling those parakeets Inko.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Cole, we can talk about Boy and the Heron in the Boy and the Heron podcast,
also known as this month's patron bonus episode.
Yeah,
subscribe.
I'm excited for that one too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything else you guys want to quickly touch on before we wrap this bad boy up?
I think I've kind of exhausted my disdain for Toradora.
I thought you'd have more disdain, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm
I
hyped
said
it up, and yeah. I
like
feel
I
like you
said,
made your point pretty good.
I made my point, but I like overall, like the show's fine. It's not like it's not a sin to humanity, right?
No,
but I think it's a pretty far cry from that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it just suffers from it being kind of overrated a little bit, maybe by people.
Yeah,
I think that's maybe what Jay saw it was highly rated and said, I'm going to take that show down.
I mean, I kind of had a very similar opinion now that I do, or that I did back when I first watched it. And like, I didn't really buy into the relationship between Taiga and Ryuji.
Mm-hmm.
It like their relationship seemed better as a friendship than as a romantic pairing.
Right.
And I mean, I'm being honest, I much preferred his relationship with Ami.
Okay. I can hear arguments for Ami. I thought you were going to say Minori.
That's what I thought I was going to say too. But he wants his best girl to win. Is really what this is about.
No, like honestly, I mean, partially, the reason I think she's best girl is because I like his dynamic with her. But I mean, like, I think that like for a romance show, that's kind of
the point. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why people have their best girl. You want them to win.
Yeah,
and I will say Ami is the character who probably gets, I feel, the worst for, because she kind of never really, she only grows as a person, really, but she kind of hurts for most of this show, really.
Yeah. I don't know.
I feel like we've kind of said it all.
Looking at realistically, if I were looking at the two love interests that they had at the beginning of the show, neither of them really had great chemistry with the other. Like Minarin was just kind of like, I don't get what love is, and Yusaku was just kind of like, he liked someone else, and also like their interactions weren't really that interesting because she was so embarrassed to be around him.
Mm-hmm. Okay, before we start diving down any other rabbit holes, I'm gonna wrap this up.
Yeah.
Because I could sit here and
show
talk
me a
about
ghost, Cole.
UFOs and ghosts.
Show me your love.
I love that whole thing. But thank you for listening to another episode of the Anime Protagonist Podcast. You can follow us everywhere at AniProPod. Links to everything is, of course, at our website, AniProPod.com. Leave a like, review, subscribe, give us 5 stars, tell a friend about us. Come on over to our Discord. You can talk to us over there. If you want, you can talk to us about Toradora. We obviously have many thoughts, and we are happy to share them. But unfortunately, we do have to eventually come to the end of this episode. If you really like us, of course, you can support us on Patreon. You get an early episode, bonus episode, extra votes in our votes of things, special chat on the Discord, priority mailbag, all of that stuff.
You also get bonuses. It's crazy.
You get so many bonuses. Honestly, too many. We should probably cut back on these bonuses.
I think we should give them more. Let's make patron votes worth 5 times the amount.
We'll talk about that after. Patrons also get their name shouted out here at the end of the episode, like these wonderful peaceful people,
all of them.
Peaceful.
Yeah.
Peaceful. Mr. Family Guy 36, Elijah Wood, Braindead B-Dog, Super Mexi, Peach, Frama, Kratost, and Just Juz. Thank you all for supporting the show. You are really very nice.
Gentlemen and scholars, all of ye.
All of ye. That's it. We'll be back next week. But Michael, can you please just do the thing where we do the thing.
Yes, I can do the thing. Thank you for supporting the podcast, and bye-bye. Merry Christmas.
As we
Bye-bye,
say
Merry
at the end of
Christmas.
every episode of the Anime Protagonist podcast. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.